Welcome to Mormon Book Reviews, where an evangelical encounters the restoration. I'm your host, Steven Pynakker, and it's been a long, long time. But back in the day, I used to do a segment called Tuesday Tangents, and I thought, I don't have an interview taped yet, so I thought, let's do a Tuesday Tangent, but actually talk about some really important things about the channel, and also just a proposal to have a debate about the historicity of the Book of Mormon and perhaps the naturalistic arguments as well. And I want to talk about that. But before we do that, I just want to touch base on a few things. Of course, I went and we did the whole live stream last week, two live streams actually. One with Jacob Hansen, and then another we did with John DeLynn on Mormon Stories. And that was had to do with the announcement of the new first presidency and President Oaks as the new prophet, seer, and revelator of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I've been getting a lot of great positive feedback from those conversations that I had with both John DeLynn and Jacob Hansen. And I think it's a good thing to try to facilitate conversations even between them. But that's really not why I called. But I just wanted to say I'm really glad that we're able to have these discussions and they be civil. And I want to continue that as well. Um, let's see. I do want to say I wanted to say I got a notice from one of my friends who recently, a couple of my friends who've been interviewed for by a major publication about their faith crisis and transitions, and it's really good. I don't want to really give any details out about it, but I'm hoping to get them on because I think it would be a really great conversation. I being somebody who was a, deconstructed atheist for a very long time, and knows what that looks like. I tell people I was having a conversation with someone last night, and I said, one of the benefits to doing all the reading and researching that I've done throughout the years is that I can tell if somebody else hasn't done that. And it shows up pretty obvious. And so that's kind of a gift that I'm very grateful for. I want to preview a few future interviews I'm going to be doing with some authors and their books. One of them is with Megan Farner, who Consider Yourself as Eve, a guide to spiritual development for women and the men who love them. Megan, give me a call soon. We chatted last night. I need to talk to you again because I'd like to do something with you soon about that. I got together actually last night for dinner with Michael D. McNiven. He wrote the book Our Lord of Wholeness, The Atonement of Jesus Christ as the Organizing Principle. And he also has this book, Removing Unbelief, which is, for those of you having a faith crisis, both be great books. I'm going to be interviewing him probably in the next few weeks as well. This book recently just got picked up at BYU Bookstore, and I guess it's also available at Deseret. So check out those books, and I'm looking forward to having future conversations with these authors and many, many, many more to come. Um, I wanted to just say, I want to thank Jacob Hansen, first of all, for the live stream that we did on both of our channels the other day. And I felt like it was a good conversation, but I want to thank him in particular for publicly denouncing Robert Boylan. I would like to see more people in that space do that in much the same way the ex-Mormon community has publicly distanced themselves from a particular individual in the ex-Mormon community who's proven to be quite toxic. I think it's really important now more than ever that we watch our rhetoric. And one of those ways we can do that too is there are malevolent actors in our camps, all of our camps, that want to do harm to people. And I think it's important that we call them out in these very perilous, difficult times. So before we get started, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a little clip that aired on Ward Radio not that long ago. And I want to share this. I want to play this clip because I want people to see this clip, and then I'll explain why I aired it as soon as it's done. So let me go and do share screen here. And I'm going to play this video that aired on Ward Radio. And I think it's really important for people to understand why I'm doing this, because I really do want to have a conversation about the historicity of the Book of Mormon, naturalistic explanations about the Book of Mormon on my platform. We've done it. Actually, I've done it myself. But I think this was essentially the original call to action by Jacob Hansen on Ward Radio, and I want to share it with you right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I now want to challenge an agnostic or atheist. I really want to see if I can get John DeLynn or Bill Reel or RFM or someone like that at that caliber. I want them to
Caliber?
following proposition. I want to see if they will do a debate with, is there a plausible naturalistic explanation for the Book of Mormon? Okay, because Pine Creek isn't top on my list. I'd rather get one of these other guys. But somebody like Pine Creek, it's like, ha ha ha, this is so funny, this is so dumb. Okay, we got the book, it's here. So give me the naturalistic explanation that can account for the data that I presented for all of this stuff that is just insanely weird. You can say a lot of things about the Book of Mormon. I can tell you one thing that is absolutely true, even if I was an atheist, it's a weird book. It has things that just shock you, like a 17-item chiasm in Alma 36. That's weird, okay? And you have to somehow account for all of that stuff naturalistically. And that's my next challenge, is to see if someone will take up that one, and I'd happily do a formal debate now with the other side who's laughing right now, and see if they can stand up and give a good, plausible, naturalistic explanation for where this book came from that accounts for all the data, not just the cherry-picked data that they want to talk about.
Okay, so that was the challenge that was put on by Jacob Hansen to debate someone's from the XMO community about the Book of Mormon. So what happened was the ex-Mormon community selected their champion, which was Colby Reddish. And so now, since I did my live stream with Jacob last Friday, I did ask him, why don't you do that debate with Colby? And they have asked Jacob to do that debate. And has since now said he doesn't think he's qualified to be somebody who could defend the historicity of the Book of Mormon. So this is what I want to put out there. For those of you in the faithful community, and by the way, I just want to say I had a great conversation with Cardin of Word Radio a couple of weeks ago. I think we kind of got to know each other a little better. And I also want to say that he was also very kind to me about the whole situation I talked about with Jacob as well, that Jacob brought up. So I just want to say, like, I have no personal thing against anybody, animosity at all. So I think this is the perfect opportunity to actually put it out there to guys over at Word Radio, Jacob Hansen, Greg Mattson, select a champion and have them come on this platform, Mormon Book Reviews, and debate Colby Reddish about the Book of Mormon. We can set out the terms, we can set out the rules and everything like that. Just select somebody. If Jacob doesn't want to do it, that's fine. But just select somebody that you feel, and look, if you're a BYU professor, look, I mean, even if Kelby even said it'd be great to debate a BYU professor about the historicity of the Book of Mormon. But we can work it out. And I think this would be a really great conversation. And as you all know, and I don't know if Jacob's ever watched my 3+ hour episode on Mormon Stories about a naturalistic explanation of the Book of Mormon, but I've done that, but I also have done an apologetic defense of the Book of Mormon as well. I can wear different hats and view things from different lenses. I think that's very helpful. My deconstruction process actually helped me with that tremendously, but also still be a person of faith. So that's what I want to put out there. TBMs, select a champion. The XMOs have selected their champion, and it's Colby Reddish. And let's engage in a civil debate about the Book of Mormon. It'll be moderated by myself, and I think everybody knows that I don't have any hidden agendas. I'm not anti anything. I'm pro civility. I'm pro having dialogue and communication. And I'm very much in favor of having these really great conversations. A couple weeks ago, I had a couple gentlemen on to talk about the faith versus works argument via salvation between an evangelical and a Latter-day Saint. Guess what? It was civil. It was great. We all walked away from it thinking, what great. That's the same thing I would like to see here at MBR, about having a conversation, a debate, and we can set the ground rules, and whoever you guys want to select, please do, and we'll get it all set up. So that's the call to action right now. Let me make sure I've got everything else here I wanted to cover. I think I covered everything I wanted to cover today. I did. Let me make sure that I'm not thinking of anything else. Well, first of all, I just want to say I've recently been going to a local ward that does a Wednesday night Book of Mormon study. And I was talking to a friend on the phone yesterday, and I said, honestly, it's so easy to talk about scholarship and critical scholarship and all these kind of things, but it's quite another to engage people in which the Book of Mormon is scripture. And reading through the book, they're going through the whole Book of Mormon, reading about 2 or 3 chapters a session, and then having talks about it. And that's been very, very eye-opening for me. I think I'm so glad that I'm doing it. I don't know if I'll do it every Wednesday, but I'd like to continue to be plugged into the local wards here and with the local community. Because it's one thing, like, it's like this person was saying, well, yeah, all these influencers, all these scholars, but, and then this was person in one of the local wards I was talking to on the phone yesterday. But I was like, and she's like, but you really do need to get to know, like, on the grassroots level, just the regular folk who, believe in it and see how they apply it to their lives. That's been very, very eye-opening to me. And so that's why I think these conversations are so important. I've put my neck out there for the restoration and even for the Book of Mormon. I've defended it. I've said that it's the most Christian book ever written on American soil. I've challenged evangelicals to read the Book of Mormon and ask them, is there anything in here that you would object to? There would be a thing here and there, but I'm sure there's things even in the Bible people might object to some of the stuff in there too. So that to me is like so fascinating that the Book of Mormon really isn't what the enemies of it think that it is within the evangelical world. The other thing I want to talk a little bit about too was the evangelical world, and one of the things I was really glad we were able to do here at MBR was call out the evangelicals and their rhetoric, including Stephen Anderson and Jeff Durham, and of course, or Jeff Durbin, right? Whatever, and Mark Driscoll. Uh, I find it very telling that a lot of the critics of evangelical critics of Mormonism have been very, very quiet lately. And I'm glad to step in to be that voice of reason within the evangelical world that's not hateful, but is genuinely interested in having Christ-like dialogue, Christ-like fellowship with people on the other side and show and model how it can be done in a very positive way. We've been doing this for a little bit now. And I think it's rather apparent to everybody that I don't have an agenda. I genuinely want to get people together to talk to each other and to help bring down the temperature so that we don't have these senseless acts of terror happening in our communities. Um, that's important. And that's when it becomes important to have these spaces where we can have a civil conversation about something like the Book of Mormon. And let's talk about other things. I'd love to have more debates, but not the kind of debate where we're trying to destroy each other, the kind of debate where we're trying to learn from each other. And we all and actually the audience learns something from it as well. So one of my authors is trying to get a hold of me, of course, while I'm taping. um, but that's what I want to do. So that's the challenge. Again, guys, just if you don't want to be the champion to defend the Book of Mormon, the Exmos have produced theirs. I believe that the TBM community should do the same, and I would love to help facilitate that. So if you guys could reach out or just come together, put your minds together, say, okay, who will be our champion, if you will, to be the person that will represent our side. And of course, in this case, not unlike in the ancient times, it's not like two men enter, one leave. We'll all leave as well, and hopefully learn from each other, and it be done in such a way that, like I said, the audience gets something from it, the two participants do, I do, and we all grow from that experience. Okay, folks, tell me what you think. What did you think about these interesting conversations we've been having here lately at MBR? Do you have any suggestions for authors that I should have in my program or special guests? Please leave them in the comments. For those of you who'd like to financially support the program, we do have links in the description. Do appreciate those of you who are supporting us financially. This month has been doing really well for our channel. We have really been bouncing back. The channel has really been bouncing back since we had a lot of setbacks last year. This year is going to be, it's been a struggle. It's been a really hard, difficult time, but we are back and making some progress here, and I want to thank everybody. So I've just finished taping this at 10 minutes to 6 Eastern time. I'm going to download it onto my computer, then I'm going to upload it onto YouTube. It probably won't be released at the exact time that I normally would on my 4 p.m. Mountain Time slot, but it will be released, and I look forward to getting your thoughts on this. And I want to hear maybe people in the description too, like, or in the comments. Maybe you could make some suggestions. And if you do make suggestions, if you know these people, maybe contact them on your behalf, on my behalf, and just say, hey, there's this program, and they've got a person who's an XMO who is a well-regarded attorney, Colby Reddish, who has, I think, argued in front of the Supreme Court of Idaho 9 times and has won 8 out of those 9 times. Uh, Colby's a well-regarded person in that in the law community. He's not an ambulance chaser or anything like that. He's highly regarded, very smart guy, and I think he would be a great person to have as the representative of somebody who wants to, argue that the historicity of the Book of Mormon is more likely to be explained in a 19th century context as opposed to an ancient one. But we'd love to have that conversation. Again, I can see both sides on this one, and I think that's why this would be an ideal platform to do this. All right, folks, love all of you. I'll get this baby uploaded, and looking forward to your thoughts on this. And I think I covered everything I want to do. Got my books here. Got to get my authors on lined up to talk to them. Let's see. Yep, 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 yep. I got it all. Covered it up all today. Awesome, folks. Well, remember, the most important thing is this: all the voices of the restoration will be heard here on Mormon Book Reviews.